What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week one of the NFL 2020 season. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Bret on the show. What's up, Bret? Good to have you back on.
Hey man, how's it going? Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. Dustin, thank you for coming back on. Good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here as always.
So this is the 2020 Week 1 breakdown of the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. A great game that came down to the wire. Lots of good football. What an ending in this one. A lot of drama to go either way. Heading into this game, the Bears were looking to extend their 4-game winning streak against the Lions. Head coach Matt Nagy had never lost to the Lions as head coach, while Matt Patricia, the Lions head coach, was winless at 0-4. So a big game for both head coaches. Some key injuries were out of this game. The Bears linebacker Robert Quinn, who would have been started opposite Khalil Mack, he was out with an ankle. And for the Lions, no Kenny Galladay with a hamstring, no rookie corner Jeff Okudah with a hamstring, and no tackle Vaitai out with a foot. So 3 potential starters out for the Lions. Bret, what did you think right off the bat with the Lions injury report coming into the game?
Well, it definitely was a damper. You miss all of them, and we just paid Vita a lot of money to be out there on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Galladay's going to that extension. He's a monster, and our first round pick. So it's a little frustrating, but injuries happen. You can't help that, but it doesn't there's no excuses for the fact though that there's still weapons out there. You're still in the NFL. You're professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Galladay, in the end zone they miss him. There's make or break plays down there that he makes it. Not many players in the NFL do, but you still got to make plays down there. And throughout the game, with or without superstars or whatever it is within your lineup.
Yeah. Dustin, what did you think? I mean, no Kenny Galladay, that's Stafford's top weapon. That's a big loss. Do you agree? I mean, the Lions, Stafford and the Lions offense isn't quite the same without Galladay out there.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, most of their production comes from Galladay, but I mean, Stafford did pretty well with Marvin Jones Jr. and Danny Amendola stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, and T.J. Hawkinson was big time as well. Bret, with Vaitai not playing, this really weakened the right side of your line with rookie Jonah Jackson at right guard, and then what's his name? Tyrell Crosby at right tackle. Were you concerned about the right side of the line?
Not necessarily. Crosby's kind of going into that spot coming out of Oregon a couple years now.
What about that rookie Jonah Jackson? He didn't do too bad. He held his own.
Yeah, it was a late coming. He wasn't expected to obviously take over like he did. So, but you still have to prepare for that. You know that those situations are possible in the preseason or whatever we had this year, and you still have to prepare yourself with what could be a potential lineup due to what the biggest factor is for teams and key losses with injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to the start of this game. The Bears get the ball first and go 3 and out after a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1 goes for no gain. Bears middle linebacker Roquan Smith knifes in to stop Kerryon Johnson for a loss of a yard. And the Bears pass rush on 3rd and 9 disrupts Stafford's throw and forces a 3 and out for the Lions opening possession as well. Dustin, looking at these two teams, did you expect, because of the injuries and everything, when you watch Bears-Lions, do you expect it to be a higher scoring game or the offenses to struggle against these two defenses? What's your thoughts watching these two teams battle it out?
Usually when I watch the Bears and Lions, man, it's usually no more than, each team will score about maybe 20, 23,
Mm.
27.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's a rivalry. Both teams come to play each other, so they play each other harder. That's how
Yep.
I see it.
Yeah, and it may not apply as much anymore, but this has always been the black and blue division. And so when they get together, it's hard fought. Nothing is given, everything's earned when these teams battle it out.
Oh yeah, the whole division, especially them up north.
That's why I love the NFC North, man. It's a great division to be a fan of.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, unless you're a
um,
Bears fan.
Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky's first completion goes to wide receiver one Allen Robinson for a gain of 13. Cordell Patterson, 13-yard rush. Jimmy Graham, a highly, a big free agent weapon brought in this offseason. For whatever reason, Jimmy Graham was off on his timing, jumping too early, I felt, on a couple of passes and
Yeah, he
hurting
was.
and what's your thought on Jimmy Graham, Bret? I mean, does he concern you being the Bears tight end now, or is he the same old Jimmy Graham that was on the Packers and the Seahawks and just never really been the same since those Saints years?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the consensus when he came or signed with Chicago, I don't think everybody was like, "Is this gonna be the Graham? That's in the high-powered offense." It's not. The Bears' offense doesn't necessarily angle anywhere like meaningful towards the tight end position, aside from blocking a lot. Now, if you're gonna get Komet in there,
Yeah,
then maybe it's going to change, just like kind of Hawkinson has for us. But Graham, he's great to have as a veteran in your, on your roster, and yeah, he's out there, and actually, in red zone situations, I mean, he's still big. He's a big body. He can still play the position. So if he can get leverage, in the red zone, but I don't think much other than that. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said about Komet. At the very least, Jimmy Graham can be a veteran presence, a learning tool for Cole Komet to watch and learn from and show him the way to play tight end at an elite level, even if Graham can't do it anymore. But yeah, he's a big body and it's a piece, whatever. Something that pissed me off, and I'm going to ask you about this, Dustin, the Bears, 4th and 7 on the Detroit 35-yard line. And obvious that the head coach does not trust our kicking position because it's a 52-yarder. Most of the NFL should be able to make this. Matt Nagy doesn't trust our kicker, Kylo Santos, has us go for it on 4th and 7, incomplete pass, turnover on downs. But my biggest issue as a Bears fan is that ever since we got rid of Robbie Gould, we don't trust the kicker position anymore. It hurt us in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and it's hurting us to start this game in 2020. It's a big issue when you don't trust your kicker and you're put in these positions to go for it on 4th and 7. It's a big problem in the NFL and for the Bears, is it not, Dustin?
Yeah, I definitely agree because, sometimes it comes down to a field goal to win the ball game. And if you don't trust your kicking team, then you have a less chance of winning the game because, let's be honest, you have a better percentage, at least stat-wise, to make the field goal than you do to make it on the 4th down.
Absolutely, and we saw it throughout the NFL. Kicking is an issue. You look at like the Titans last night, where they couldn't make a field goal to save their life, and had to settle for a field goal, like a 20-something yarder, and everyone's like got their fingers crossed because they don't even know if he can make that.
Hey man,
Bret, let me go ahead.
Prater missed the field goal earlier before, what was that, the third quarter. He would have, that field goal's made. Stafford's getting you in field goal position no matter what. That game should have been kicking a field goal like that. So you're right. Yeah, in this game, it had an effect because it kept us at a 2-score game. So
That was
Yeah,
huge. That's an underrated aspect of the game right there. That's a good point. And we'll talk about
yeah.
that, in more detail coming up. Brett, what did you think? So I wanted personally, when I saw Adrian Peterson became a free agent, I was all over this. I said the Bears should go sign Adrian Peterson. I wanted him. I said David Montgomery has got a hurt hamstring. He's questionable for week 1. Who's our other guy? Who's our running backs? We don't have
Cohen.
shit. Let's go get Adrian Peterson. Well, you guys go and get Adrian Peterson, which pissed me off. It was good having AP out of the division. Now he's back and going against us week 1. And AP really brought it against us, breaking loose for a 19-yard run early to get Detroit in the field goal range. How did it feel having Adrian Peterson carrying this team at times in week 1?
Oh, it's great. Just being able to see somebody, at that level who you've watched play for years, play for your team is one thing, because that it's bringing good things. He's loved, he's a very looked up to. I know that he has that presence in the locker room for the team. So yeah, when he came out there and he made that first run, man, I was like, whoa. It was nice it was nice seeing a running back on the Lions be able to create offense, be able to create field position and make moves. It was, Lions had exactly the best running game for the last decade. So, it was great seeing him out there, and he played one hell of a game for his debut.
And you can see it in Adrian Peterson. It's like he knows it's a confidence. It's a confidence mindset. It's knowing that he can make the cut and run hard. And Dustin, you gotta notice seeing Adrian Peterson run his whole career, even at this age in 2020, AP can still bring it.
Oh yeah, and he's got a good 2-3 years left if he's healthy. I mean, AP was, and it still is, one of the best running backs of all time in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably the best running back the Lions had since Joyke Bell.
Yep. Well, I like Kerryon Johnson, and he had a decent game. And if he can stay healthy, he's a beast for Detroit. Swift, we'll get to talking about Swift a little bit more, but a good up-and-coming rookie, Brett, what do you think of Stafford early on feeding rookie Quintez Cephas, 5th-round pick out of Wisconsin? Looked pretty good. Good potential out of that young wide receiver.
Yeah, I was happy when we took him in the draft because I got to see a lot of him throughout the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that he was a playmaker. He was somebody that had, that kind of swag that was going to get it done in the clutch. So he came out in his debut for us, and he made some plays. It's what we need to have. We have a nice receiving core. It'd be nice to have Galladay back out there, but he looked great. So I'm happy with how our rookies, for the most part, played through their debut here in the first week.
Yep, and that leads to a Matt Prater 27-yard field goal. The Lions take a 3-0 lead. Bears come back down. Bears were moving the ball, to their credit. It didn't look pretty. It wasn't, anything, but I like that Matt Nagy was much more determined to run the ball early in this game, much more balanced, feeding David Montgomery, giving it to Cordell Patterson and these guys. Tariq Cohen going for 16 yards. Bears unable to finish the job, but kicker Cairo Santos comes through with a 35-yarder to tie the game at 3. Dustin, how important do you think it is for the Bears, with a quarterback like Mitch Trubisky, to make sure to establish the run and run a balanced offense?
Yeah, it's very important because let's be honest, you can't really depend on Trubisky's arm the whole game. So to have a balanced, run game with the pass game, it definitely helps the Bears be able to move the ball. Sorry about
Absolutely.
that, man, but I have to be honest.
No, it's 100%. No one should look at Mitch Trubisky and be like, you know what, I'm going to have that guy throw it 50 times. No one's going to say that. So run a balanced offense. Offensive linemen like to run block. They're inflicting very well on the defense, and it's resting their own defense. So good to see. The end of the first quarter, 3-3, Bears-Lions. What do you think of this, Bret? I'm interested in your reaction here when Lions linebacker Jamie Collins gets ejected from the game for playfully headbutting an official in the chest.
Ridiculous.
I thought it was a bad call live because I was like, you know what? I can see a penalty here because you can't do that. But at the same time, if he wanted to headbutt the official in the chest, he would have hit him a lot harder than that. It was just showing, it was just, I don't know what he was thinking, but
he was smiling. I mean,
yeah, he was joking. He wasn't serious.
He was trying to tell him something, but I mean, you still just, I mean, there's no room for that.
Yeah,
But
you're not allowed to touch the official. So I understand that, and and you're ejected for that. But I did think it was unfair. And what do you think, Bret? I mean, it sucks to lose one of your best linebackers early in the game for what most would consider pretty much a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's not I don't think it's something that they can review or whatever, and.
Yeah.
It also just honestly, like any situation in any sport, it depends on the official.
Yeah, and context. So the official, if he knows the context or not.
Right, and some officials may not have thrown the flag, though. That official seemed to be very stern about what he was going to do.
Yeah, like
he pulled his foot. He stepped back. He pulled his flag out. He looked straight at looked him right in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this, he was serious about it. And I was nervous at that point because I had kind of suspected that, I know that you can't, there's not many things that you can do towards the official and still be in the game in any sport.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, that sucks for Detroit. I felt for him there. I tweeted right away that I thought it was a bad call, but it's letter of the law, so it is what it is. On 3rd and 12, all right, talk about missed opportunities for Detroit in this game. First of all, Dustin, what did you think of that Jamie Collins getting ejected for that?
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, I feel like the ref was too harsh in the decision. Yeah. But then again, Jamie Collins is a veteran, and he should know the rules. Yeah. You absolutely cannot at all make contact with the referee, being done on purpose. So it was 50-50. I mean, the ref was just maybe having a bad day. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you ask Bret, it seems like when the officials go no nonsense, it always seems to come at the expense of Detroit for whatever reason.
I do agree, though. That is 100% true.
Yeah. So talking about missed opportunities, Bret, I'm going to get your action here on Trubisky pass on 3rd and 12 is too far for Allen Robinson to handle. Goes off his hands, goes up in the air, and Lions corner Justin Coleman has a chance to intercept it. Hits him in the hands, but he's unable to hang on to the interception. A big missed opportunity there to take an early takeaway away from Mitch Trubisky and the Bears offense.
Yeah, man, that would have been huge, Those are the ones that you dream about because you can catch them in your sleep. And he got, he got caught sleeping, I guess you could say, because he was, a lot of times that happens with, everybody. You don't get that situation. You don't get something like that very often. So you're eager, you're anxious, and you're looking upfield before you're possessing the ball. And that's exactly what he did. Yeah.
It's all about taking advantage of opportunities, and those ones hurt when you look back on it. A lot of A lot of missed opportunities for both teams on the field at times in this game that you can look back and be like, should have done this, should have done that. Stafford passed to Marvin Hall, former Bear, goes for 26 yards. Matt Prater hits a 32-yarder. Lions go up 6-3. Early on in this game, we were trading field goals. At that time, Bret, did you feel like this is going to come back to haunt us, not pushing these in for touchdowns and selling for field goals, letting the Bears hang around?
I mean, I feel like that way I felt that way kind of for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions, a lot of times when their scoring fluctuates upwards towards the end of the game, but at the beginning, it seems like there's a barrier that they can't, for some reason, get into the end zone for. So, if they're doing
Hold on.
Yeah, the Lions have done that throughout time, and it just seems like the first, second quarter, first couple possessions, we're after the scores 9-13, 9-6, 9-7. You convert on even one of those, and that applies some kind of pressure to the opposition that wasn't there due to the fact that you're only putting up 3 each time. Now, if you're putting up 6 with the extra point there, the whole game changes in a sense. So it'd be nice if they could put some touchdowns up early instead of field goals all the time.
Yeah, and I think part of that was a lack of preseason. I said it. I think that all these teams are going to get out to slower starts. And Dustin, I think we saw that throughout the NFL, slower starts, and then the game started heating up in the second half. Do you agree?
Yeah, it goes back to what we talked about, in the Tampa Saints game. A lot of these teams had to find themselves fundamentally and physically and be used to being physical because of the sad offseason that we had,
Yeah. It'll take a little bit of an adjustment week one, about the preseason and all that, but we did get, we saw fireworks later in this game for sure. So
11 left.
All right, so then the next, so 6-3, tough start to the game. Trubisky leads the Bears down, 22-yard pass to Allen Robinson, 19-yard pass to rookie receiver Darnell Mooney, plus a 15-yard face mask penalty. Darnell Mooney, for me, really stepped up for the Bears, rookie wide receiver. He made some nice plays, a little speedster, so I like that draft pick for Chicago. We were talking about kickers and their inability to make field goals. Somehow, Cairo Santos came through quite a bit in this game, ties the game up at 6-6. Bears and Lions trade 3 and outs. And so this pissed me off at the end of the first half. We get a 3 and out, Bears opportunity to move the ball down the field, and with time on the clock, and instead it's like 3 straight passes. No time goes off the clock, and they punt the ball back to the Lions. And it was obvious the Bears' defense was tired at this point. And I did not like giving the ball back to the Lions with time on the clock. Stafford, 18-yard pass to T.J. Hawkinson, 24-yard pass to Hawkinson, and then a 2-yard touchdown run by rookie running back DeAndre Swift, his first career NFL touchdown. And the Lions take a 13-6 lead into the half. What do you think? I mean, Bret, you had to be happy with the Lions going on a touchdown drive and taking that momentum into halftime, especially knowing that you're going to get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, that was something to be positive about. Bouncing back there. Marching down the field, seeing Stafford use what a lot would say is like a 2-minute offense.
Yeah.
The Lions, that's a positive outlook for what could be very needed down the road in certain situations. The fact that they couldn't, capitalize more off of that or continue to capitalize elsewhere throughout the game is a little bit obviously unfortunate, but it's nice to see that they're able to, off that, go down the field and not get punched in the face or get down and then continue those woes.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I'm a Bears fan, but I've seen a lot of Stafford, and he's shown a pretty good ability to go on those drives, whether it's the end of the half or the end of the game, and come away with points. He seems to thrive in those 2-minute drives. Dustin, watching Stafford throughout his career, do you think Stafford has a pretty good ability of going on those late game, end of half, end of game, 2-minute drives?
Absolutely. I mean, Stafford loves, it. That's like trying to be the hero, and he loves the fact that he can have that on his shoulders. I mean, as you've seen at the end of the game,
Yeah, he's a threat for sure. I think he kind of gets slept on in that regard. So, needless to say,
he leads. He's the leader in NFL history in fourth quarter and overtime comebacks.
Yeah,
he's got that passion, that grit. It's just the Lions got to stop playing from behind.
Yeah, and so needless to say, going into halftime, I'm pissed. Like, I'm not happy that we only got 6 points in the first half. We gave up a touchdown going into half. That's momentum for Detroit. Plus, they get the ball. I'm not feeling good going into the second half. So that's my mindset as a Bears fan in this one. The Lions come out. Stafford, at one point in this drive to start the second half, had 7 straight completions. And on top of that, we get called for a roughing the passer penalty, which I didn't agree with, but it is what it is. On that drive, 4-yard touchdown pass to T.J. Hawkinson, and the Lions are up 20-6. With the way Trubisky had played in the first half, down 20-6, I'm not feeling it. Let's go back to one question, Dustin. You tweeted me, or you messaged me at halftime, and you said something about, you were like, is it time to go with Nick Foles? Explain to me your thinking when you messaged that to me about, is it time to go to Nick Foles at halftime?
I mean, yeah, because Trubisky was being Trubisky of the past, and I figured in order for the Bears to be able to move the ball, it would be time for a change for Nick Foles to come in. Now, I'm not saying, for him to start the next week, but if you would have brought him in,
for a spark.
Yeah, and it would have lit a fire under Trubisky, for week 2, saying, hey, my job could really be in jeopardy.
Yeah, and so you weren't the only one that suggested that to me. Multiple people on Twitter, on Facebook were like, time to put in Foles. And I was pushing back on all that. I said, look, you don't have a training camp quarterback competition and award somebody to start only to pull them at halftime of week 1. So, in my opinion, it was a lot of week 1 overreaction. And so I was still confident in Trubisky, but I could understand why a lot of people weren't based on the way he looked in the first half. I even tweeted, Bears need to wake the hell up at halftime.
And, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that, no offense to Bret, but if it wasn't for the fact that they're playing the Lions, if that was a bigger, a more powerful team, then the Bears would have definitely been in trouble had Trubisky been playing like that.
Yeah, and luckily we were able to stay within a shot. I mean, 17 points is about as far as you can get down and still be able to come back, and we needed a hell of a fourth quarter to do it. So the Lions go up 20-6.
Don't forget the fact that our top 3 corners also were not were 1 inactive and 2 of them left the game.
Absolutely.
You guys were able to take advantage of that. That was a game changer right there.
That was big, but I mean, like you said, it comes down to availability and next man up. I mean,
it's true.
It sucks.
When it comes down to it, we talked about wanting that Stafford-Trubisky matchup all the time, and for like 4 straight games, it didn't happen or something.
Yeah. So there was a lot on the line. A lot. Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, you're right, though. It still doesn't matter. Like, those guys made the 53-man roster. Like, they should be making the plays regardless at what the line of the depth chart that they're on.
Well, and that's why not having Okuda out there was big because, having Okuda's talented. Everyone can see that coming into the NFL. So, you need a corner as a position where if you don't have the talent, you're going to be exposed. And so when the injuries happen, you get down to where you're starting your fourth string and third string corner. It's not going to be pretty. I don't care who's at quarterback. And
Coleman and Trufant. I mean, it's hard losing them for sure.
Yeah, and so not having so 20-6, but you had to be feeling good up 20-6 early in the third quarter. Was there any thoughts in your mind about the Lions' potential of blowing a lead, or were you feeling pretty good up 20-6 with Trubisky not doing much so far in the game?
I thought all of that.
Yeah.
All of that because I went back to last year's opener against Arizona.
Oh, that's a tough one to go back to.
Yeah. God, we were up 24-3, I think, in the fourth.
Up 18 in that one. I know that. 24-6, I want to say.
And they came back and tied it.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up in a tie. So I knew, I was hoping that I was like, for the last several years, I would say 14 out of the games for the Lions are, giving somebody, a fan somewhere in this world, a heart attack.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I want them to be able to, have a 2-possession lead, a 2-touchdown lead with 5 minutes left. Put the pressure on the other side. Don't let them know that, hey, if we get it, just be easy. Like, let's just play our game. And that's exactly what Chicago did. They took advantage of it, and it ended up working out for them.
So, I was pissed off at this point because down 20-6, I just felt like our defense wasn't bringing it, wasn't ready to go. I've been talking about in the preseason or like coming into this that I want the Bears to have a top 5 defense again this year and get back to it. And I just felt like there was zero pass rush on Stafford, and it just, I wasn't happy giving up 20 points to that point. But I really liked seeing Khalil Mack on the sidelines being animated, getting the defense, gathering the entire Bears defense together and talking to them and trying to rally them. That's what leaders do, and that's a big reason why we traded for Khalil Mack for that reason right there. So that made me happy as a Bears fan, and to see them to start to play better later in the game was good news. The Bears offense down 20-6 goes 3-and-out again. Dustin, from your perspective, looking at the Bears defense, it hasn't been as dominant since 2018 Bears. 2019, they fell back to a top 10 defense. Here, they've allowed 20 points early in the third quarter to Detroit. What do you think of when you think of the Bears defense last year and now week one not being quite as dominant as they were in the past? Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's I still believe they are dominant. They just deal with a lot of injuries, like Robert Quinn not being there. It would have been a whole totally different ball game had Robert Quinn have been in the game, because them two on the outside, Mack and Quinn, just can't be stopped, and that's just
That's a good point, because Quinn's replacement was Barkevious Mingo, and he's kind of a guy that's bounced around quite a few different places lately in his career.
And also, I think Nagy wants to focus more on getting the offense going, man, because sometimes that offense is tough to watch.
Yeah. Well, believe me, I've seen a lot of it, going back to Kyle Orton days, Rex Grossman days. Even Jay Cutler at times couldn't move the ball, and you're relying 100%. And you're relying 100% on the defense to, you're like, if the defense doesn't score, we're not scoring. So, it's frustrating, and it's not always going to be pretty, but you just got to find a way to figure it out. Adrian Peterson goes for 21 more yards on a rush. Back-to-back defensive penalties by Akeem Hicks and Buster Screen moved Detroit back into field goal range. Matt Prater drills a 44-yarder. The Lions are up 23-6, and you could start to feel the game slipping away. Down 3 scores, and with Trubisky and that offense doing nothing, I was pissed. I was like, if this is the way we're gonna look week 1 and lose to the Lions by double digits, I'm not gonna be very happy. Yeah. What do you think, Brett? What were you thinking at this moment? Lions were moving the ball and Bears were kind of shooting themselves in the foot.
No, I agree with you. I would have been just as unpleased as you.
Yeah.
As all of Chicago Nation seemed to be. We were playing our game, and that's the thing. Like talking about the Lions, starting off slow. Like we didn't start off slow this game. We took control of this game the way that we needed to. Some of the mistakes that were made. I mean, Trubisky. There were probably 2 throws I think in this game. Trubisky, if he'd have just made the damn throw, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
He just was that bad. Like, and I'm sorry, there was at least 1, but possibly 2. But I'm just.
I know what you're talking about with the Cole Kmet one, and I think another one with maybe Allen Robinson or Jimmy Graham. And
I think it was the Robinson one. Yeah, because he broke off of whoever just came in when Trufant left the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they just attacked us like we should have.
Yeah.
But you missed the target. But in other games, certain situations, that's Lions Bears playoffs. You miss that touchdown, the Lions scored. That happens. But I mean, I don't know. It's the fact that we were up and had control the way that we did.
Yeah.
Just got back to Arizona last year, and then it happened.
Well, so a big part of so Trubisky did start getting it going late, but it took forever, and it was understandable that people were like, bench Trubisky, or those Bears fans on Twitter like, what are we doing at this point? Like, take Trubisky out of the game. We're running like a high school offense. We can't move the ball. We can't hit open guys. People were understandably upset. But then out of nowhere, Trubisky seems to get it going. An 18-yard pass on 3rd and 10, which was our first third down conversion of the game. Down 23-6. Our first third down conversion, 18-yard pass on 3rd and 10. Then a 22-yard pass in a very tight window to a diving Allen Robinson. I mean, what's your thoughts, Dustin, when you see the 2 Trubiskys? You see a Trubisky that can't hit the open guy, but then you see Trubisky thread the ball with 3 guys around him for a completion. What goes through your mind when you see that kind of stuff?
I mean, it's the NFL. Trubisky has to do that all 4 quarters instead of just, 1.5 quarters. So it shows what he's capable of. He just has to be able to play a complete game.
Yeah. It's inconsistency. It's, in my opinion, is his biggest downfall. And so it's quite the conundrum. We got a big play in this game, first play of the 4th quarter. Matt Nagy decides to go for it on 4th and 1 from the Detroit 10-yard line. Down 23-6, I didn't like this call. I'm absolutely kicking the field goal here because that cuts it to 23-9. That cuts it down to a 2-score game. I don't care if it's 2 touchdowns. I want to cut it down to 2 scores. Now,
I agree.
Yeah, but Nagy, being aggressive, calls a fake dive, pitch out to Cordell Patterson. If not for a great block by Allen Robinson here, this play is stopped short. But a great block by A-Rob, Patterson's able to get the corner and just barely get the first down. I can't hate because it worked out. I'm just saying I would have kicked the 3 there. But a hell of a play by Allen Robinson, one of our best players on either side of the ball. Great block by a wide receiver here. What did you think of his Bret?
That's not seen a lot. It's not seen on the stat sheet. It's
not
seen by fans, in quote, who are fans who understand the basics
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
Those are things. Those are what do they call those? The intangible things
Yeah.
that they talk
The
about so much
small
in high school
details
and college.
yeah.
So like, the fact that uh, that's happening and that you're able to get that kind of output from a skill position like that is just a bonus that you can have, as part of your roster. Not a lot of teams get that, even though it's something that you can think of as so simple, but it's often overlooked.
Yeah, and I'm going to take this moment to, while we're praising Allen Robinson for that block, to say, hey, maybe let's extend Allen Robinson. He's obviously a vital part of our team, our offense, our team's leadership. We keep dragging this out, and A-Rob's going to one out. He's already, as of today, said if he doesn't get a contract extension, he might want to trade out of Chicago. So let's stop sitting on our hands, Ryan Pace, and pay this man what he's worth.
You guys can do whatever you want. Let it play out.
Yeah, until he goes to Green Bay or something.
Oh my God, that'd be
terrible. So 2-yard touchdown pass from Trubisky to Jimmy Graham, who we spoke about. Jimmy Graham, big body. You can just kind of throw it up and he can box it out. 23-13, and I tweet finally after this play. We finally get a score, get back into this game, get a little momentum. A great play by Jimmy Graham. So 23-13, Stafford, 9-yard pass to Quintez Cephas on 3rd and 4 to keep a drive alive. This is in the fourth where our defense is needing to make stops and get this Lions offense off the field. So they're able to get the ball back. And this is huge. Trubisky starts, getting it going. A 20-yard rush and a 15-yard face mask added on. Great to see by Mitch using his legs, which is a underrated weapon of his game. Dustin, what do you think? I mean, a lot of people talk about Josh Allen's legs. I consider Mitch Trubisky in the same sentence as ability to use his legs and run as Josh Allen. He just doesn't do it nearly as frequently. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Bears had their success last season when, they were doing quarterback keeps and stuff with Trubisky. I mean,
2018 especially, he was a lot better at that. Yeah.
He's a fast quarterback, and I say the league is transitioning into quarterbacks who can run with the football. So Matt Nagy needs to call more, quarterback options and stuff, and let the quarterback go to work. He's definitely an athlete in the open field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that Trubisky, for whatever reason, is a more accurate passer out of the pocket on the move. For whatever reason, he seems to be pretty accurate like that instead of when he has to depend on his footwork in the pocket. And then this is – go ahead.
You have quarterbacks like that because Mahomes is more accurate when he comes out of the pocket too, and so is Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean –
yeah, I think Mahomes is accurate as hell wherever he is, to be honest. But I agree with you that they're just as accurate outside on the move like that. Yeah. This is what Bret was talking about. I mean, in the fourth quarter, game on the line, and you see not only Justin Coleman but Desmond Trufant, 2 starting corners, both go down, both with hamstring injuries. To go with Okuda's hamstring, a lot of hamstring injuries in Detroit. What do you make of that, Bret?
I don't know. I'm like 30 minutes away, and I seem to be pretty fine with all of my ligaments. So I'm not worried. I don't know what's going on. The weather seems to be fine, but no, yeah, it's frustrating. We've dealt with hamstring injuries except Stephen Tollett. Man, that was like years worth of just that, and with Reggie Bush and Calvin Johnson. So yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems to be running through the bloodline of the Lions roster. But once we get, it'd be nice to have a full lineup out there who we want, 11 on each side, and competing to the best of their abilities. Because now that all these skilled players are around Stafford, and this defense has been built a little bit by Patricia. I'm hoping that it can lead into something here over the course of the next couple months. But with the way that they let this game fade away, that cannot be an indication of how the season's going to go.
Hey, I think every single fan in sports, if they could, they would do the old Madden and turn injuries off, because injuries can derail the best of rosters. It's practically a luck game whether you're going to be healthy and have all your weapons available.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
A big play in this game potentially could have been disastrous for the Bears. On 3rd and 13, Trubisky gets sacked by Lions defensive end Trey Flowers and fumbles the ball. Lucky that it's recovered by Chicago. This could have easily been picked up by Detroit and ran back for a touchdown. Dustin, this could have been drastic, and this is what I'm talking about. I can live with inaccuracy and struggles throwing the ball from Trubisky at times. What I cannot live with is being reckless with the ball and turning it over. And he gets lucky here. You agree?
Yeah, and I mean, that's Trubisky for you, and those are still some of the things that he has to work on if he wants to. If he plans on being, a franchise quarterback 10, 12 years down the road.
Yeah, and I think for the most part he does a pretty good job of protecting the ball, but it's those big moments, where you can't have that turnover, and luckily it didn't cost us. Bret, you have to be happy with Trey Flowers here, one of the leaders of the defense, getting a big impact play that could have been the play of the game.
Yeah, it's nice to see him making the big play in the game and not getting some phantom foul call on him and going back.
I was going to say, you had to be pretty happy with officiating in this game. No major calls that you guys can look to that, hurt the Lions in the end. It was, in my opinion, a pretty clean officiated game.
Yeah, I was just it's nice being able to see, Flowers is a very impactful player. So
yeah,
he's going to do things. And last year, when we just refer back to that game against Green Bay with the two heads to the face that didn't happen, it's nice to see our biggest edge rusher be able to be at his full potential without some kind of handicap or criticism as far as what he's doing. So him making that play would have been nice to recover it, but it definitely, we didn't get a lot of pressure last year, so we did well getting in Trubisky's face and causing a lot of hurt.
Yeah, and that's Patricia. He's the defensive play caller. He's got to put his guys in position to get to the quarterback. So we'll see how that goes, but a decent start. AP going for 14 yards, multiple cutbacks. AP was reminding me of Vikings AP in the second half at a couple of points, and I was getting upset. Driving down the field, they get into 14 yards. The Lions get into field goal range. Bret, tell me what you thought of this play call. They have Stafford do a little play-action rollout, looking for someone to get open. Akeem Hicks breaks through and gets a sack on Stafford and really moves Detroit back for a much longer field goal attempt. Matt Prater comes out for the 55-yarder and hits the post. And in my opinion, this is the play of the game, a big key part of this game, because this would have put the Lions back up 13. Instead, it stays a 10-point game. So key that Akeem Hicks got that sack. I mean, I knew that 55-yarder was borderline, and Prater's hit those before, but he would have absolutely nailed like a 45-yarder. Big sack by Akeem Hicks here. And a lot of people are questioning this play call by the Lions.
Yeah, those are the plays again that, people see the sacks, they see the number of sacks, but they don't see the implications that the sacks have.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what doesn't show up on the play sheet or stat sheet is what you just pointed out. So, it was a big play. And, when it comes down to the end of the game, if you have to be on the downside of things, you obviously want to do it with a one-score game, and that being with a field goal. That would have gave us that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating, especially because Prater's been so dominant at the kicker position for such a long time.
Were you worried when he missed this? At that moment, when he missed the field goal, you're still up 10. Did you at that point say, fuck, like we better close this out? Did you have any worries like that?
A little bit again, just because of last year.
Yeah.
I was just, I'm a hopeful Detroit fan that they have fixed those bugs in the circuit, and
Yeah.
they obviously haven't. So I'm still going to be worried. If we could have a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, and I'm not going to be sitting down. So,
Yeah.
so it's a 0-0-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, until they prove that they can close games out, coming back is one thing, because a lot of times, you just have to open up. Like, you open up a lot of things.
Yeah. It's
And
easier. It can be easier to come back than it can be to close a team out. I think that's where you're going with that, right?
Yeah, because you're playing, closing a team out, you're playing with a lot more pressure. The fact that you don't want to give this up, you don't want to allow this. As a
Yeah.
team that's playing from behind, you're expected to make them give that up and make them allow that.
Yeah.
So whether you hit or miss, teams know that that's what they're going for. So it's a little bit less, and it's as weird as it sounds. You're right. Like, it is, I think, a lot easier. Not a lot, but in a
Maybe
sense,
slightly.
easier to come from behind than
Yeah.
it is to close out, just because of the pressure factor.
Dustin, so the Lions go for a 55-yarder here. Something I thought about as this was happening. It's a long field goal attempt. If the Lions were to punt it here, you'd be pinning the Bears back at least at the 20, if not inside the 20, and make Trubisky go 80-plus yards. When you kick a 55-yarder here, I know they believe in Matt Prater, but when you kick it here and miss, the Bears get it where he kicked it. So you got momentum. It's a 10-point game, and then you're handed very good field position near midfield to go down and get points. So a key play here with a missed field goal, giving the Bears good field goal position. Do you think that's a big factor in the outcome of this game?
I mean, ultimately it was, but I would have did the same thing. Matt Prater has proven to be one of the best kickers in the game,
Yeah.
and a very trustworthy kicker. So I would have put the faith on the leg of Matt Prater myself.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And so the biggest key here is definitely that sack, moving it back, making it a more difficult field goal, and then it working out. Trubisky going to Anthony Miller, back-to-back 18-yard pass and then 13-yard pass, an amazing one-handed toe drag catch by Anthony Miller. Dustin, what do you know of Anthony Miller? And based on what you have seen, what do you think of the young wide receiver?
I think he's definitely gonna show signs of greatness. I mean, I also, not to mention, he had that touchdown catch that pretty much put the Bears back into the game to
Not
close it
many
out.
people. Not many people talk about him. They talk about Allen Robinson, Jimmy Graham. Anthony Miller is pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a good receiver, solid right now. Could get better in the future.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a big piece to the Bears offense in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Trubisky, so this is a big play as well. Trubisky avoids an unblocked rookie defensive end, Julian Alcala, and hits Jimmy Graham for a 16-yard pass that nearly went for a touchdown. Knee down just short. But I really like this play by Trubisky to avoid an unblocked pass rusher, get away from him and then be decisive and accurate. Bret, based on what you were seeing, Trubisky struggled so much in the first half. Do you agree that for whatever reason, Trubisky's accuracy takes a decent step forward when the game is on the line like he did on Sunday?
I mean, I haven't watched him enough in that specific situation to say.
Let's say at least just Sunday. Just Sunday.
Well, from the perspective of just that, on Sunday for sure. I would say
Mhm.
that that's the case. But Trubisky, to start the game
Was
when it
not
was
there at all. Yeah.
right, so it's hard to. It was hard. It would have been hard for anybody to have the concept or mindset that was going to be the case for Trubisky, that we could be saying that, but he did step up and took advantage of the miscues
Yeah.
that the Lions had there, and that's how you win games.
Yep.
If you're down and you're behind, and your opponent gives you like a pick there, like that was, oh my god.
Yeah.
But they took advantage, and that's what you have to do in order to win games, and good teams do that.
Yep. Yeah, you find a way to win. That's the bottom line in this league. They're not all going to be pretty. Um, so then Trubisky rolls out 1-yard touchdown pass to Javon Wims to cut it to 23-20 with 3 minutes to go. Analyst Jonathan Vilma, who I thought did an excellent job on the broadcast for his first game, he said, we talk about Mitch Trubisky's inaccuracy. This one right here, extremely accurate. Great throw. So stepping up, cuts it down to a 3-point game. The Lions get the ball with 3 minutes to go, 23-20 lead. They give it to Adrian Peterson twice in a row. It sets up 3rd and 5. Dustin, I'm going to ask you, when it comes to end of the game clock management, Nagy was taking timeouts here ahead of the 2-minute warning. He takes one at 2:50 and then one at like 2:30. I hate taking timeouts before the 2-minute warning, because at any time you allow a first down, then they get a fresh clock and you don't have the timeouts available anymore. I'll wait until the 2-minute warning and then take my timeouts. Another thing is that I feel like we left too much time on the clock. By using the timeouts early, we give the ball back to Detroit, even though we've got the lead later, with plenty of time on the clock for Stafford to go potentially win the game. So, Dustin, do you agree with me here that you should wait until after the 2-minute warning to use your timeouts, or do you like using them like Nagy did here?
I would rather wait till after.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. I would rather wait till after the 2-minute warning, because to me the time seems to wind faster when once it hits the 2-minute warning. They're trying to get the game over and stuff. Plus, you never know what's going to happen when you're going to need those timeouts to try to end the game, in case, a turnover or something very important happens.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm much more like call the timeouts when you absolutely have to. Wait until you absolutely have to burn those.
And you never, ever want to give the ball back to a seasoned veteran like Stafford with
time on the
that
clock.
Much time left.
Exactly. So I felt, nitpicking a little bit, it worked out, but I didn't like the timeouts there by Nagy.
You could say it's a scenario situation then. Depends, who's on the other side of things.
Yeah,
you don't want to give Stafford the ball back, but certain quarterbacks you may not care because your defense, is going to be able to outperform.
Yeah, but then you also brought up a good point saying it's easier to come back than it is to finish. So I'm, just me in general, my perspective, I'm not going to take those timeouts until after the 2-minute warning. Even if I do have to go 80 yards, I feel like in a 2-minute no-huddle situation, most offenses can go 80 yards in a minute and a half. They don't need a full 2.5 minutes. And especially Matthew Stafford. Especially Stafford, don't give him the ball with over a minute. Even with a minute, Stafford can do it. So don't give him that opportunity. That's just my 2 cents.
No, you're right.
I've seen it even with 55 seconds left. 3 or 4 crossing routes, and you're already in field goal.
Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, those guys are the kings of that shit.
Brady,
yep. So, yeah. So 3rd and 6 now. Stafford throwing it on 3rd and 6. I understand why he threw it here, right? you want to be aggressive and pick up the first down and ice the game. If you run it and give the ball back to Chicago with momentum, all you're doing is asking to get beat late in the game. So I would always, on 3rd and 6 here, throw it, be aggressive, get the first down, you know? But it seems, and tell me what you think of this, Bret, I feel like Stafford tried to kind of like thread this ball on 3rd and 6, throw it into traffic. Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson both there, bat the ball up in the air, and it's intercepted by Kyle Fuller. Big mistake. What were your thoughts on this play?
Yeah, I mean that's a throw that's not a veteran throw. That's not anytime you throw it over the middle, you increase the risk of it being, you decrease the risk of it being caught.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of traffic in there, and like you said, and in that situation, yeah, you do want to be aggressive. You get the first down, the game's over.
Exactly.
But again, if you do exactly what you did and throw it over the middle and try to thread it, you've got to make that play. And if you allow him to get in there, I don't see why they didn't just run some kind of out route, run some kind of dump, something. But Stafford, I think you're right. He just tried to make a way bigger play than needed to be made in that situation.
Yeah.
And it cost us.
Yeah, I am definitely in the camp of be aggressive but be safe at the same time. What do you think, Dustin?
That's where I'm kind of different. I'd say run the football because it takes time off the clock. Plus,
burn another timeout, whatever. Yeah.
Let Adrian Peterson, use his veteran ability and push forward and try to get that first down.
So you're more so on the side of play it safe, even if you are stopped short, punt it deep and make them go a full field.
Yeah, especially with the struggles that Trubisky can have at times.
Yeah, I understand that.
I would rather be conservative and play safe instead of, giving them good field position when you're known to blow football games.
Yeah, and it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and second guess it. I like being aggressive. It just didn't work out, and you would like to have it maybe be a safer throw there.
The Lions were on they weren't on any kind of run. They weren't on any kind of hot streak. They couldn't get anything going, and the Bears had everything going. So I think having that in mind, if you do run it and don't get it,
the momentum's already there.
It's not the Bears offense that started the game. It's the Bears offense that just scored 2 touchdowns in a minute, 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And with Stafford, you're paying him $28 million a year. I mean, Adrian Peterson's Adrian Peterson, but it's not Adrian Peterson from 5 years ago, especially when it was 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and so my reference to this decision, this type of thinking, goes back to, tell me if you guys remember this, Broncos-Ravens in the playoffs. And Peyton Manning had an opportunity to go for it and bury the Joe Flacco Ravens, right? And instead they ran the ball and punted it. And guess what happened? 2 plays later, it's that Joe Flacco deep ball to Jacoby Jones and the game's tied. So
yeah, and I mean, to kind of follow up a little bit what Bret said is I understand where he's coming from, but I just feel like if you punt the ball, you give them, an opportunity to have to go downfield as opposed to throwing it, risking it to get picked and giving them, closer field position.
Yeah, and there's no right decision which way to go. It's all gut feeling and all that. There's so many different ways.
You might not even get that opportunity. They can block it.
Yeah, you never know.
I feel like if you can give yourself that opportunity to ice, if you have the opportunity to ice the game, I don't know. I feel like you take it, but
scenarios. You guys obviously believe in Matthew Stafford. He's most likely probably the best player in the organization. So with the game on the line, you need a big throw to ice the game. I think 99% of Lions fans are going to say, we'll keep the ball in Stafford's hands. trust him to make a good throw here and ice the game.
Yeah, he just made a throw that, like I said, it's any time in the game, it's, dangerous to throw over the middle, but especially there when the last thing that we needed was to give you guys
A
40
short
yards field position.
Yeah, the Bears take over already in field goal range with 2:30 left in the game, down 3. At this moment, I'm psyched. I'm pumped because we got the ball there. I'm like, let's just score a touchdown by any means necessary here. But what was in the back of my mind, looking at that clock with 2:30, that did not make me happy. I knew that was too much time on the clock. So Bears take over. 2nd and 5. On 2nd and 5, second-year linebacker Jelani Tavai jumps off sides, giving the Bears a first down. Mental mistakes killed Detroit all game in this one. And in my opinion, when your team's making mental mistakes, that goes to coaching. What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And this is what I was going to say about, the Bears coming back in the fourth quarter and the Lions always blowing it. Obviously, Patricia doesn't have, the ability to keep his team focused for all 4 quarters. And
Yeah.
All this eventually lands on him as being the head guy.
Oh, it has to. Bret, do you agree? Do you think this goes to Patricia? I mean, tough penalty here on Tavai, but if you look at the whole scope of this game, a lot of mental mistakes by Detroit and the penalties and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be ready. You can't be making – mistakes are going to happen. We're human. We make errors. But when you're giving your mistakes are lump sums that are just giving clear advantages to your opponent. That's definitely something that's on the coach, the head coach for sure, because those are just fundamental things that you learn in Pop Warner.
Yeah, and that should have been cleaned up in training camp. And preseason helps, but it ultimately falls on the head coach. Yeah.
You've been doing it all your life. You know what is and isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
So it's uncalled for, and it's if they're what would you call it? Those are
undisciplined.
Yeah, I mean, it's undisciplined for sure. And you can't be making those kind of mental mistakes and expect to win football games in the NFL.
So this is up to Patricia now to fix the problem and address it and get this team to be smarter, because the team is only as good or as bad as you allow. So if you're Patricia and you go in there and you put your foot down and say, if you do these mental mistakes late in games, you're not going to play late in games. We're going to take you off the field. If he's smart and aggressive and holds people accountable, they'll learn from it. And so that's what you got to be looking for.
Something's got to change.
If he wants to keep his job, at least.
And that's surprising to me because, he was under a coaching tree with Belichick with teams that barely made those kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
So he should definitely know how to get a team ready to not make those kind of mistakes,
Absolutely.
Yeah, the lineage that he has for sure. Like he needs. It's just, I don't know with the Lions right now.
Yeah, we'll see. A long season still ahead. Dustin, I want to get your reaction to this. So Trubisky struggled, obviously, at least in the first half. Started playing better in the second half. Gets the ball here and a 27-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Miller with the game on the line, down 3, less than 2 minutes in the game. What do you think of this throw? What does this throw say about Trubisky? Was this a solid throw, a great throw? What do you think?
This throw showed that for once he wasn't afraid and he put the trust in his.
It looked like a confident throw, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a perfect throw and perfect catch, and and kudos to Nagy for being aggressive.
Yeah, and going at Anthony Miller. And it's got to be easier to trust and have faith in your arm when you're going against third and fourth string corners. I get that, but it's nice to see Trubisky make that throw. Bret, what did you think? I mean, big time throw by Mitch. Do you put more so? I mean, is it a great throw or is it do the corner and the secondary need to be in better position on that play?
I mean, I'm not gonna dock the fact that it was a good throw. You know, it was thrown in the position to where only the receiver could get it, and that's what you want to do. You know, in every situation in passing. So, but at the same time, it may not have played out that way if it were somebody else in there. If it were,
you'd like to see Okuda or someone like that out there.
You know, yeah, or you got Coleman back there to find, and not, you know, it's not so. It's I don't know. It was both. It was a good throw, you know, for the situation, for what you can't doubt Doc Trubisky, just because you know it's not his fault who he's throwing against. So, but at the same time, you got to remember that you know he's not throwing against either one of their starters. So,
looking at the secondary play, especially at the end of this game with the injuries, etc., Bret, do you have any regrets about moving on from Darius Slay this offseason? Could Slay playing in this game have helped?
Oh, I mean, yeah, absolutely, he could have helped. But you know, having Trufant now get hurt also could have helped, which was the replacement, basically, in a sense. Or you could say Okuda, who's also was inactive. So, yeah, I think you know there's plays that Slay makes that other corners don't make, but there's you know same thing for the corners that are on the depth chart for the Lions. So currently, I'm happy with the secondary that we have.
Okay.
I'm unfortunate that you know that they all got hurt today, but
yeah, you can't predict injuries, but the talent seems to be there.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, if we can come full circle there, then there can be some kind of no flight zone.
So Lions take over, down 4 now, 27-23, 21 straight points by the Bears. All I'm saying here, they got 2 timeouts. The Bears defense, I'm like, play somewhat soft, keep them in bounds, make them use their timeouts, and hope that we can finish the job. Stanford does a good job, 11 yards to Marvin Jones, forcing the Lions to stay in bounds and use their timeouts, slowly moving down the field. Then Stafford, you know, you get down about 30 seconds, Stafford fires a 32-yard laser to wide receiver Danny Amendola down to the Chicago 16-yard line, and they spike it with 11 seconds on the clock, no timeouts. At this moment, I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. Stafford, a great throw to Amendola, big-time throw, putting Detroit in position to throw it in the end zone again, you know, and move the ball down against this great defense. Then, you know, the play of the game, really, Stafford throws a perfect pass, a great play call, hits running back DeAndre Swift in the end zone, in his hands. I turned around, I threw my hat, I was like, touchdown, we just gave it up. I turn around, and I'm like, wait, what? And Swift had dropped the ball, which would, you know, drops the game-winning touchdown catch. Unreal. Bret, what were you thinking watching this?
Well, half of the neighborhood heard me yell.
Yeah.
To begin with. I was outside watching it on my phone because I was pacing around. And I yelled originally because I thought they caught it.
Me too.
And I was like, the yell kind of turned from like a yes, like, man, that was, you know, again, it's a make or break play, but at the same time, the game should never have been there. So,
yeah,
I just hope that it's not something, you know, you don't want to play your first game anywhere and be what a lot of people are deeming the reason for the loss, which it's not. Like, obviously, if we would have caught it, chances are the Lions would have won. But, again, it should not have been in that position to begin with. You cannot fault him for that. You got to move on. You got to play. You know, you got to keep your mindset level and bounce back.
Yep, good take. Dustin, what do you think? I mean, it's got to be tough. A rookie running back making his first career NFL start. Every young player dreams of the opportunity to catch a game-winning ball, and in your first career game at that. And he has – I think DeAndre Swift probably would have barely slept this week, just thinking about replaying that catch over and over and over again, about how he should have been the hero week 1.
Yeah, you have to catch that ball, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Especially when you were drafted, because you're known to be
For
a
your
back
hands?
who has hands, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just definitely got to catch that, man. And, I mean, I feel like that's where the Lions not signing Theo Riddick is where they lost that, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. At this point, it's just like, it's the Lions. That's all you can say there. That's Bret. I mean, you got to understand where I'm coming from a little bit. It's, when shit like that happens, you're like, it's because we're the Lions, man. What else can you say there?
Yeah, it doesn't happen to anybody else. So, no, but yeah, I mean, is Riddick even on a roster?
I think so, but I got to double check that. I don't know. I can't say for sure.
It's, we've had running back woes for years, and yeah, Riddick is an asset coming out of the backfield, being able to be the dump and picking up some yards. But we need something with Johnson being inconsistent with his health. Swift was there, and I think he's about, for the position to be great, break out. Yeah, it was an unfortunate way to end his debut in the league, but this is where adversity kicks in, and this is where real athletes and men and players come and show who they are.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dustin, I think you're talking. I mean, the Lions have had a couple of these guys that are supposed to be their pass catch running backs. I'm thinking like going back last year, I believe, like J.D. McKissick and guys like that.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I feel like that's where Kenny Galladay being out hurt Detroit, because usually he's the man that Stafford would have looked for in the end zone at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, not having Galladay is huge. That's like Bears not having Allen Robinson. When you're down your wide receiver number one, there's a lot of adjustments that go on behind that. I think Stafford did a fine job of using Amendola, T.J. Hawkinson, rookie Quintez Cephas, Marvin Jones to still move the ball. And it's just, it comes down to made plays and not made plays that decide outcomes. And the Swift one hurts. The interception before that hurts. It snowballed on Detroit, in my opinion, and the mistakes came back to haunt them. And that's how you blow a lead late, is by mental mistakes and missed opportunities. Bret, do you expect the Lions? Swift looks like a good up-and-coming running back. We're going to get Okudah on the field sooner rather than later. Do you expect the Lions to be able to bounce back from this? I know they have a little bit of a tough schedule here starting out the year. Do you expect the Lions to bounce back from this and still be in contention in this division? Or is this going to be a rough 2020 season? And are we looking at a new head coach and possibly even a new GM in Detroit after this year? What's your prediction?
Well, history would say the latter there.
Yeah.
It's going to be miserable, but again, there's hope with the fact that the way that they played the first three quarters, knowing that every quarter a key position got kicked out of the game or injured.
Yeah, having Collins on the field for a full game will help. Shit like that.
Having Galladay back, having Okudah. It's very nice to be able to see that that this Lions team, without those big key pieces, are still able to take control like they did. They just weren't able to, hold on and grasp it throughout the entire process. So that's something that it's just been a part of the Lions, dynamics and organization for years, that they can't finish games with a lead. So that has to change if you want to be, win a division for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah. So, tough way to start 2020, but I think you, like me, we were standing up, watching this game with our hearts beating out of our chest, screaming at the TV. It just felt good to be doing that in 2020. After all the bullshit, all the talk back in March and April, no football in 2020, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't hearing it. And here we are, week one, screaming at the TV, doing the same shit we've always done. So, I'm glad that we had football, and it was a great week one, a lot of action, and week two we'll get to do it again.
Oh yeah, I'm happy that we're out here. I'd rather be, there's nothing better than being able to soak in the reality of sports after the miserable time without it. So
Yeah,
happy we're back. Hopefully, everything continues. With the season, same thing with the MLB,
yep.
NHL, NBA. They're doing great. We can get college football back here.
Hell yeah, the Big Ten. I know we're all excited about that shit.
Oh yeah, baby. We running this, so let's do it.
me and Bret will get another rivalry going here soon. Michigan State. Dustin's got his Irish. Dustin's Irish are already playing.
Go Irish.
So, all right, week two. 0-1 Giants after 1-0 Bears. I predict the Bears to get out to a 2-0 start. I think we can handle this Giants team. I don't think they're that tough. What do you guys say? What do you think Giants at Bears week two? Dustin, what's your take?
I mean, the Giants didn't look too bad in Joe Judge's debut on Monday, but I ultimately think that the Bears are the overall better team, so I'm going to go with Bears.
All right. What do you think, Bret? Giants at Bears?
Yeah, I think that Jones, he's not to that full potential yet. Games like this, especially against his defense, I think the Bears, not necessarily, immediately, but at some point in the first half, take control.
Yeah, hopefully Trubisky gets his shit together in the first half this time. And then week two, 0-1 Lions at the 1-0 Packers in Lambeau. Bret, you think the Lions can bounce back, go into Lambeau, and get a road win against Green Bay? I mean, you talk about a bounce back. That would be one way to silence the fucking haters.
Yeah, I mean, if we're able to come back and beat Green Bay here, it's going to be huge. The fact, if we start off 0-2 against division opponents at the beginning of the season, it's not a good outlook. So yeah, we need to come out with some fire. They say that they have that dagger mentality or whatever that they're going with here. So let's do it here. Against this Packers team who came out was pretty explosive last week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to
dropping like 40, 43 or whatever.
Something like that.
What do you think? So you got what's your prediction? Are Lions gonna beat them?
I mean, if our secondary is fully there and stays healthy, then Rodgers isn't going to be throwing all over them. It's not the same Minnesota defense that it's been.
That's true. I think Detroit's going to play better defense than Minnesota did.
Yeah, and the way that the Lions opened up the field and opened up the game offensively to begin with against the Bears, if they do that against the Packers, I don't see why they don't come out with a 27-24 win.
Okay, and then hopefully the refs don't call illegal hands to the face over and over for no reason.
Or some other thing that we've never heard of.
Sacking Aaron Rodgers with body weight. That's the only guy that gets that call. Dustin, what do you think? Lions at Packers, tough game. Where are you seeing this go?
I ultimately see it being 31-17 Green Bay because I think it'll be competitive in the first half, and then I think Rodgers just pulls away from him. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Bret, but
that's the way of the North.
Green Bay defense, that Green Bay defense. I don't know. We'll see.
That's the way of the North. The Packers have owned the North for so long. Like someone's got to dethrone them. Hey, I'll root for Detroit. Go beat Green Bay and Lambeau week 2. I do think the Packers have the advantage and will probably come out with the win. But I'll throw on some Honolulu. No, I won't. But I'll be watching.
Lambeau with no fans. Think about that.
No cheese heads in the stands.
Yeah. that's a big advantage for any opponent that comes in there. You guys got to remember that the Lions did not trail a single second last year against the Packers and still finished 0-2. So
yeah, that's tough.
Let's not count them out right away.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for coming on for this one. This was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, good to have you guys on. You guys know your shit, so very good conversation here, breaking down the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We're gonna keep these episodes coming all season long. We got some former NFL players, head coaches, media coming on to help break these games down. So it's gonna be a hell of a year. Week 1 in the books, but week 2 right around the corner. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week, and peace out.